Hello dear students, as you all know we are doing chapter number 1, that is electric charges and fields. In the last lecture we studied about Gauss law and we have solved some numericals of Gauss law. Today we are going to learn application of Gauss law, but before going direct on that, let me give you a quick revision of Gauss law. For understanding Gauss law, we have understood the very first thing, which is area vector. What is that? Suppose a surface is there, its length is L, its breadth is B, then obviously its area is going to be L into B. Okay? But what is area vector? Area vector is a vector whose magnitude is the magnitude of area only, but it is associated with a direction which is perpendicular to the plane of the surface. Is it clear? To the perpendicular to the plane of the surface, that is n cap. If this unit vector is n cap, so A vector will be A, which is the area, into n cap. If the surface was curved, then what we have done? So we have taken a small area element and it is taken perpendicular outward. Is it clear? This is the first thing we understand. Second thing we understand was electric flux. Electric flux. What is electric flux? It is the measure of electric field lines which passes through a surface. Okay? It is the measure of electric flux, electric field which passes through a surface. Like suppose if this is the surface and the electric field is passing through it is E, then electric flux is given by E into A. But what happens if the same surface is a bit tilt? Then we draw area vector, we take angle theta with the direction of electric field. Now A have two components, one is a cos theta, another is a sin theta. In this case the flux is given by E into A cos theta, which is further can be written as E vector dot ds vector. Okay, these two things we have studied before studying Gauss law. And now what is the Gauss law? Let us understand that also. All the things I have told you in the previous lecture. Okay, and there we have discussed in detail. You should go and learn. Now what was Gauss law? Gauss law says that the total flux, the total electric flux obviously passing through a closed surface is equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed by the surface. That is, phi is equal to surface integration of E vector dot ds vector, which is equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon. So this is the Gauss law, which we have studied in the last lecture. What is that surface integration? I have told you that surface integration is applied over small area elements, and when it is applied, it gives us the total surface area. Q enclosed, what is the charge which is enclosed by the surface? Phi is equal to, for mathematical calculation we will use this, phi is equal to surface integration of E vector dot ds vector, which is equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught. So we are going to use this equation to apply Gauss law. There are certain applications in which we are going to apply that. Okay, let us see them one by one. The first application is derivation of Coulomb's law from Gauss law. Derivation of Coulomb's law from Gauss law. What is Coulomb's law? Coulomb's law says that if two charges are there, Q1 and Q2, and the separation between them is a small r, then there is a force acts between these charges, mutual force, which is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude and which is inversely proportional to the r square. And if we apply the constant, we got k q1 q2 by r square. Okay, that is the formula we have studied in Coulomb's law. Now we will try to prove this formula by using Gauss law. Just see how. Suppose a charge is there, which is small q, and from small q at a distance r, there is another charge which is q naught. Now, what we need to find out that what is the force acting on the q naught, and we have studied one formula that is E is equal to F upon q naught. F will be equal to what? E into q naught. So somehow from the Gauss law, if we were able to calculate the value of electric field, then we'll multiply it with the q naught, and then after we'll get the value of force. So for the Gauss theorem, we need a Gaussian surface through which the flux is being calculated. Now what I am going to do, at a distance r, I am going to take a Gaussian surface which is spherical in shape. Okay, which is spherical in shape. Suppose its radius is r. If I take an area vector here at this point, the area vector will be directed outward from the Gaussian surface, and obviously the direction of electric field due to plus q will be in the same direction. So if we calculate the value of flux passing through the surface, then it will be phi is equal to phi is equal to integration of d phi. What is d phi? D phi is flux passing through ds. Okay, ds, the small area we have taken through which the flux is passing, that is our d phi. So when we integrate d phi for the whole surface, we'll get the value of phi, and the value of d phi will be equal to what? E vector dot ds vector. As we can see, E and ds are in same direction. Then phi is equal to what? Surface integration of E ds cos 0. The value of cos 0 is 1. E, since it is the sphere, at every point of the sphere the electric field remains same, E can be taken out of the surface integration. So we will get E surface integration of ds. Now the value of E has to be calculated. Surface integration of ds is what? 4 pi r square, which is the surface area of the sphere. Let this be question number 1. Is it clear? Okay. Now from Gauss law, what we can say? From Gauss law, phi is equal to q enclosed upon epsilon naught. So the charge which is enclosed by the surface, it is q. Q naught is on the surface, and that's why it is not taken. That is why it is not considered. So what we are going to have? Q upon epsilon naught. Let this be question number 2. Equation number 1 tells the value of phi. Equation number 2 tells also the value of phi. So what we are going to do? We are going to calculate the value of electric field from there. So from 1 and 2, we are going to have E into 4 pi r square is equal to Q, or Q upon epsilon naught obviously. E is equal to what? 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon r square. This 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught we write K. It will be K Q by r square. So this is the value of electric field. So what will be the value of force? E into Q naught. Then F is equal to E into Q naught, and when we multiply that, we are going to have F is equal to Q naught is multiplied over here, that will become K Q naught by r square, which is the formula for force on the charge Q naught due to Q, which is the same as the Coulomb's law is. So in this manner we can prove Coulomb's law from the Gauss law. Suppose in the board examination it is asked prove Gauss law from the Coulomb's law. Then what you will do? Small changes are there. Here we have calculated the value of E. You will put the value of E over here. KQ by R square. Put the value of K also, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Some things will be cancelled out. In that manner we will get phi is equal to Q upon epsilon naught. It has been done in the last video lecture. Okay. So this is how we can prove Coulomb's law from the Gauss law. Okay. You have to from the video lecture you don't have to note. In the description again I'll put a link for the notes. Okay. Go in the description just below the video. Okay. And you'll find a link for the notes. Is it clear? Okay. Let us move ahead now. The second application is electric field due to uniformly charged infinite wire. Electric field due to uniformly charged infinite wire. This is the second one. Okay. Now we have to prove it. It has been done. If you have seen all the previous lectures, then it has been done. Without using Gauss law, we have taken a length element and then we integrated over the length of the wire. One component was cancelled out. It has been done, but by using Gauss law, it can be done very easily. Suppose this is the charged wire. Okay, this is the charged wire. Let me make it straight. Suppose this is your charged wire, and this wire is charged positively, right? Okay, it is of infinite length. The linear charge density of the wire is lambda. What is that linear charge density? The charge distributed per unit length is called linear charge density. It is lambda. From a perpendicular distance A from the wire, there is a point. Let this point be P. We have to find the value of electric field at this point. Okay. What we'll do? We'll take a cylindrical Gaussian surface along the wire. There is a cylindrical Gaussian surface we have taken like this. Okay. The radius of the cylinder is obviously what? A. The radius of the cylinder is obviously A, and it has two flat surfaces. One is above, one is at the bottom, and one curved surface, right? Let the length of the cylinder is capital L. Okay, no problem. Suppose this surface is 1, this surface is 2, and this surface is 3. If we take an area element on the first surface, it will be outward, and the electric field is this way. They make 90-degree angle, right? Between the area vector and the electric field. Here the area vector will be vertical downward. How I am determining the direction of area vector? I have told you the direction of area vector is always normal outward. Okay, normal outward. So if this is a cylinder, suppose, let this marker be a cylinder. So this at this surface, perpendicular will drawn outward. So the area vector will be in this direction. Here the area vector will be in this direction. For the curved surface, here the area vector will be in this direction. Here it will be in this direction. Here in this direction. Here in this direction. It is like this. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this is how the direction of area vector is there. At the bottom also the angle is 90 degree. But here the area vector and the electric field, they are parallel to each other. They are in the same direction. So if net flux I want to calculate, net flux, so it will be phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Here that phi 1, since angle is 90 degree and flux is what? Ea cos theta. Since angle is 90, therefore the cos 90 will be 0. So in this case, phi 1 will be 0 Same goes with phi 3, it will be also 0. But phi 2 we need to calculate. For phi 2 what we are going to do? We are going to surface integrate E vector dot ds vector. Okay, then phi will be equal to what? E ds cos 0 degree. Cos 0 degree is 1. Why I have put 0 degree? Because they are in same direction. Okay, now that phi is equal to what? E is outside the surface integration because the cylinder is equidistant from the wire. So at each point of the cylinder the electric field will remain same. The E will be out of the integration, we will have ds, and for the curved surface area we have a formula that is 2 pi AL. I have taken distance A. 2 pi A into L. A is the radius of the cylinder. Right? Let this be equation number 1. Now from Gauss law, what we can say, phi is equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught. What is the value of Q enclosed? All the charge of the wire will not be enclosed in the cylinder. In the cylinder, only from this point to this point, only this much charge will be enclosed. And how this much charge will be calculated? Charge per unit length is what? Lambda. So what is the charge in L length? Obviously it is lambda into L upon what? Epsilon naught. Let this be your equation number 2. Okay. Now from 1 and 2, what we can write, since both are telling the value of flux only, from 1 and 2 we have phi is equal to E into 2 pi AL into lambda L upon epsilon naught. L and L will be cancelled out. We are going to have E is equal to lambda upon 2 pi epsilon naught into A. Okay, this is the formula for electric field. If we multiply 2 in the numerator as well as denominator, we are going to have 2 lambda upon 4 pi epsilon naught into A. 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught can be written as K. So E is equal to what? 2K lambda by A. Okay, easy to learn. So the electric field due to a charged wire is 2K lambda by A. In the previous lecture when we proved this, it almost takes 1.5 pages to prove that thing. But by using Gauss law in a very simple manner, we can prove it within half page only. Is it clear? So Gauss law, what does the Gauss law do? Gauss law makes the things easier. Is it clear? It saves us from the long process of integration. Okay. And suppose if without using Gauss law, if we have to do, then what we'll do? We'll take an area element. According to that, we'll take the value of electric field. E will be in this direction. Components will take. Then components will be integrated over the length. So Gauss law saves us from the long integrations. Right? Okay. Let us do the third one. The third application is electric field due to uniformly charged infinite sheet. Okay, electric field due to infinite sheet. Now suppose if this is the sheet and this is expanded over infinity and it is positively charged. Okay, and we need to find out at a distance A or R from the sheet the value of electric field, right? Okay, sheet, there is a difference between sheet and the plate. Okay, we'll discuss it later on, but let me tell you right now. Later on we'll discuss in detail. In the sheet, what we assume, there is only one surface of charge. But in the plate, we'll assume that there is two surfaces of charge. One is this side, one is this side. Okay. But for the sheet, we'll assume that there is only one surface of charge. We'll not assume that some charges are in this side, some charges are that side. There is that is the basic difference between sheet and this one plate. Okay. So suppose this sheet is there, the charge is distributed over this and the surface charge density is sigma. At a distance r from the sheet, perpendicular distance r from the sheet, there is a point P at which we have to calculate electric field. Now what I am going to do, I am going to again take a Gaussian surface which is of cylindrical shape. Why I have taken Gaussian surface to this side also? Actually I have taken it because since there is only one surface of charge and this sheet has to be at the center of the Gaussian surface, right? So that the variation of electric field through the Gaussian surface will remain same. Suppose this is your cylinder which I have taken and the sheet is somewhere here. The value of electric field is something else will be here and the value of electric field will be something else because the distance from the sheet is different. Right now we don't know the formula of electric field, so we are not very much sure that at what we know about electric field, that electric field varies with the distance, right? So if what we do, we take the sheet not at the side, we take the sheet as the mid only, so that the value of electric field at this side and this side will remain same. Is it clear? We cannot take only this side. Okay, this surface cannot taken into the sheet because sheet is so thin that on that we cannot take a surface, means ending surface of the cylinder, right? Okay, so in that case we will take R here also. Let me make it a smaller one so that we can write the electric field also from here somewhere. Suppose this is your distance R. So this is the whole diagram. Now the cylinder will be having three surfaces. Let this surface be 1, this curved surface, let this flat surface, let this curved surface is 2 and let this surface be 3. Let this area is capital A. So here one area will be enclosed and that area will be capital A. Okay, this is not the direction of A. Okay, I'm not sure. Let me write it here also so that this area is A, right? Now what happens? If we take an area element over here, it will be in this direction and the direction of ds will be same because area vector will be perpendicular outward and electric field, since it is a positively charged plate, the electric field will be away from the plate. For the curved surface, at every point electric field is in this direction only. So if we take area vector over here, the electric field makes an angle 90 degree with the curved surface and that's why the flux through the curved surface is 0. For this flat surface, the area vector will be in this direction and electric field will be in the same direction. Suppose this surface is 1, this surface is 2, this surface is 3. The net flux phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. Okay, phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3. This phi 2 will be 0 because electric field makes an angle of 90 degree with the area vector, right? The value of phi 1 will be equal to E vector dot A vector plus, suppose if this area vector, so let this be A vector, because it is a flat surface we need not to take area element over here. Let this be A dash vector, because its direction is opposite, it will be equal to the value of vector A, but its direction is opposite. So what will write? E vector dot A dash vector. Suppose E dash is also there because the direction of electric field is something else. Now I will put the values. We'll get phi is equal to EA cos 0 plus EA cos 0. The value of cos 0 is 1, the value of cos 0 is 1. EA and EA will be added, it will be phi is equal to 2EA. And if you apply Gauss law, so phi will be, which is equal to 2EA, will be equal to Q enclosed upon epsilon naught. Now the value of Q enclosed will be, just see, will be given by this surface. Charge per unit area is sigma. Charge through this area will be So phi is not required now. 2EA will be equal to sigma into A, charge density multiplied by area, upon epsilon naught. A and A will be cancelled out. E will be equal to what? Sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. Okay, this is the value of electric field due to a sheet. So this is the value of electric field due to the sheet. Now it is a very important formula, because from this formula there is no R. So from it we can understand that electric field the value of electric field is independent of R. What is R? R is the distance from the sheet. Okay, R is the distance from the, as electric field is independent of R, because in the formula there is no R, right? But we have to understand that we have proved this formula for the infinite sheet. Infinite doesn't mean that it is a very big in size. Infinite just means that the value of R is very small in comparison to the dimensions of the sheet, and that's why it is for R the sheet is infinitely expanded, right? So for that thing, if R is very small, then electric field is independent of R. Okay, now let us move to our next application, and the next application is electric field. This is 4th due to two parallel charged sheets. If two parallel sheets are there, then what is the electric field in the regions? Okay, now just suppose this is the first sheet and this is the second one. Okay, you need to understand that sheets are kept like this. Okay, so you are able to see only the edge. You are not able to see this plane. Sheets are kept like this. Okay, so you are able to see only the edge, right? So there are two sheets which are kept parallel to it. Let both the sheets be positive charge. Okay, if charges are different, then one case is possible, but that will be a homework kind of thing. Let the charge density for this sheet is sigma 1. Let this be sigma 2. And let us assume that sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. Okay? While calculating, we'll keep this thing in our mind. Now suppose this will be your reason number 1, this will be your reason number 2, and this will be your reason number 3. So somewhere here, at this point, what is the direction of electric field due to this sheet? Due to this sheet, what is the direction of electric field at this point? When we consider this sheet, we'll forget about this one. When we consider this sheet, we'll forget about this one. Okay? So when we consider this, because of this, what is the direction of electric field? We don't think about sigma 2 plate. Right? So for this sheet, what is the direction of electric field? Obviously, the sheet is positively charged. The electric field will be in this direction. Let this electric field be E1. And because of sigma 2 plate now, what is the electric field at this point? Obviously it will be in the same direction. Why is it so? Because it is also positive charge. Both the electric fields will be away from the sheets only. So in this direction the electric field will be there. So here the net electric field will be E1 vector plus E2 vector. Right? E1 vector plus E2 vector. Now if we define a unit vector which is directed from this side to this side, then just see here that E net will be given as sigma 1 upon 2 epsilon naught as per the formula, electric field due to a sheet, n cap, but n cap is directed in that direction, that is why it becomes minus. Same goes with E2 also, sigma 2 upon 2 epsilon naught n cap, and that too with negative sign, right? That too with negative sign. Now this positive and negative becomes negative, and if we take negative sign as common, we are going to have minus 1 upon 2 epsilon naught sigma 1 plus sigma 2 into n cap, or we should write minus this side minus n cap. Is it clear? So this is the electric field in this region. This is the electric field in this region. N cap is directed from one plate to, from first plate to second plate. So this is the direction of electric field. In the second region, let us see at this point. Here the electric field due to this sheet will be away from the sheet, it is positively charged. Electric field will be in this direction. Okay? Electric field will be in this direction. And here, because of this plate, the electric field will be in this direction. Let this be E2. So what will be the net electric field? What will be the net electric field? So here that E net will be given as E1 vector plus E2 vector. Since it is vector, so we will put plus sign only. Now while putting the values, we will see the value of E1 is in the direction of n cap. N cap is described from here to here. So we will write sigma 1 upon 2 epsilon naught into n cap. For E2's direction is opposite. We will write sigma 2 upon 2 epsilon naught, but minus n cap. Now again, if we take 1 upon 2 epsilon naught common, the inner bracket will have sigma 1 minus sigma 2 into n cap. This will be the value of electric field in the second region. Okay, this will be the value of electric field in the second region. Is it clear? Now coming to the third one. Here at this point, electric field due to this sheet will be in this direction, and electric field due to this sheet will be in the same direction. Now both the directions are similar with the direction of n cap. So here we have electric field net vector is equal to E1 vector plus E2 vector. This line will remain same, but when we put the value, we are going to have sigma 1 upon 2 epsilon naught n cap plus sigma 2 upon 2 epsilon naught into n cap. Why? Because they are in same direction. Okay, so both are positive n cap. Now if we take 1 upon 2 epsilon naught as common, 1 upon 2 epsilon naught as common, so in the bracket we have sigma 1 plus sigma 2 into epsilon naught. This is the value of electric field in this region. Okay, this is the value of electric field in this region. So this is how we calculate. This has come in the board examination also, probably in 2018 exam or 19 exam, and this question was there for 3 marks. For the diagram only 1.5 marks were there. For this expression half marks, for this expression half mark, for this expression half marks. Total 3 marks. Okay, so very important type. And why it is important? Because there are so many cases of it. We can make so many cases of it. Like suppose if this is positive charge, this is negative charge. I have calculated that sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. Suppose it is given sigma 2 is greater than sigma 1. So accordingly, the case can be changed. So what you need to understand, you need to put the right direction of the electric field, which is very confusing. Okay, so many students ask this, why the direction of electric field is like this. Okay, so you have to understand it very carefully. Okay, one case is there that if sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2 is equal to sigma, if sigma 1 is equal to sigma 2 is equal to sigma, so in this region sigma 1 plus sigma 2, it will become 2 sigma. 2 and 2 will be cancelled out. So in region 1, E net will be equal to 1 upon, it will be sigma upon epsilon naught n cap with negative sign, because net electric field will be in this direction. In region 2, the net electric field is given by, since now in this region sigma and sigma 1 2 are equal, it becomes 0, E net will be 0. And in the third region, electric field will be sigma 2 sigma, 2 and 2 will be cancelled out, sigma upon epsilon naught n cap. difference in region 3 and region 1, minus n cap, n cap. Direction of electric field is just opposite. So this is what the total expressions are there. Okay, this is all for the day also. Tomorrow we'll study about electric field due to conducting spheres and insulating sphere, and after that electric dipole will be studied. So this is all for the day. Okay, notes are there in the description link. Just see and write down in your copies. Okay, this is all. That's it. Thank you.